We have here the XOSS G Plus GPS cyclocomputer or speedometer. I had the first version, the XOSS G Plus, but I bought this one because I needed more battery since the old battery of the first version had already deteriorated. Also bought this one because it had slightly more features and I heard it had a better and faster GPS. The plus, by the way, means more info on the display, and you can also connect it to sensors like speed sensor, cadence sensor, and heart rate sensor. We'll turn on the device now, and it operates the same way as the first version. You long press the right button, which is the power button, and wait for a couple of seconds. To use this, we press play or the left button here. It also serves as the pause button, and as you can see, the GPS icon at the top is blinking. I'm indoors now, so it's having a hard time connecting, so let's go outside. We press play, then you can see how fast the signal or the device has connected. This is significantly faster than the first version, and I think it's the best feature if you compare it to the old one. So after connecting, we can now ride. To see the other pages or the other infos of the device, we press the right button or the power button, which is also the uh, next page button. The current speed, you can also see the time, calories, distance, and elevation. Press it again for the next page. You can see average. The main display on the average page is your average speed. You can also see at the bottom the pause time, so when we're not running on the bike, we can see how many minutes were paused. And we can see VAM. I don't know what VAM means, but it's on meters per hour. You can also see the gain, the elevation gain, and the elevation loss. So next page, we can see max. The main display on the max page is the max speed. At the bottom, we can see the total time, the power, the odometer, which is the total distance run by the device. You can also see the max elevation. The new features which are now displayed in the G2, which were not on the previous versions, are the calorie, time pause, VAM, elevation gain and loss, the total time, power, and max elevation. So it has significantly more features if you're looking for that. The cons, yes, it has more info on the display, but it's also somewhat cluttered because sometimes it's hard to focus on which info you want to see compared to the first version, which has less display, but it's also the more important ones. And the clock, which is always displayed on the top, is smaller. I also find that the XOSS Vortex cadence or speed sensor, the max cadence, it still spikes up to 160 RPM, which is unrealistic. I'll now discuss the design, but it's more of my opinion. The design is now trapezoidal shape. It's also much thicker and has glossy sides. The first one, if I compare it, it has a more matte finish and I like it more. The better or improved features of the G2 compared to the first version are mainly the ones on top. So the clock is always now showing beside the temperature, and you can see below the main info, which is the speed, is where you can see the heart rate and the cadence. It also matches with what kind of page, if it's the current speed, it's the current heart rate, also the max heart rate and the max cadence. The gradient also is always on display, but it doesn't have the decimal point, but it doesn't matter because it's really not that accurate. So it's just at the ones digit, 1%, 2%. So despite the slight cons, I can say that the G2 is significantly better. I bought this for the main purpose of having more battery, and despite the design, the slightly more features and battery makes it a worthy upgrade.